Obama and treason. Yeah, what's this? Gen Z, what is up with Gen Z women and children? It's a frightening story. We're going to tell you about it. And do we need doors on bathrooms? Yes, of course, some people seem to feel we don't. Welcome to the Sheldon Show. That's me. Hello. Nice to have you along for the ride, whether you are watching us live, right now live, on Rumble or X. We're on both platforms, and we're glad to have you in here. Morning, Marilyn. Morning, Danny. Happy Hump Day. It is Wednesday Hump Day, halfway through the week. And I got to tell you right now, outside this soundproof studio, it is raining monsoon rains. I mean heavier than I think I've ever seen in my life. Needless to say, I think, listen to the background. Can you hear that? Unbelievable. I'm sure there's going to be massive flooding. So it happens all the time. Not at this level, but man, this rain is insane this morning. It's crazy. All right, this is huge. The Director of National Intelligence, Tulsi Gabbard, has detonated a historic bombshell. Barack Hussein Obama's attempt at a coup in 2016 overthrew the U.S. government in 2020 to cover it up and has now been caught. 1 minute and 49 seconds of treason recorded and released. The words shook everybody, not just here in the U.S., but around the world. 1 minute and 49 seconds, captured on video, broadcast by the White House itself from none other than DNI Tulsi Gabbard. Have a listen.
But to begin on that, the president yesterday, you've inferred that the former president helped lead a coup. Based on what you now see, do you believe President Obama is guilty of treason?
I'm leaving the criminal charges to the Department of Justice. I'm not an attorney, but as I've said previously, when you look at the intent behind creating a fake manufactured intelligence document that directly contradicts multiple assessments that were created by the intelligence community, the expressed intent and what followed afterward can only be described as a years-long coup and a treasonous conspiracy against the American people, our republic, and an attempt to undermine President Trump's administration.
The Senate Intelligence Committee spent several years looking into this and unanimously agreed in a bipartisan fashion. Secretary.
Bada bing, bada boom. Hey, my Quillwine Sinyorbin. MAGA once again. You got it. Thanks for coming by. And yeah, I know we had a problem with the audio in the beginning of that call. I'm sorry. We got it fixed about halfway through. You didn't miss much. But, wow. Never in American history has a former president been accused so openly, so directly of absolute treason. absolute treason. According to the declassified evidence, 2016 wasn't about elections. It was about control. Obama, the man sworn to protect the Constitution, accused of weaponizing intelligence assets, manufacturing narratives, attempting to subvert the incoming administration. It was the opening shot of a much bigger war, an attempted coup camouflaged as the defense of democracy. It failed. 2020. If 2016 was the attempt, 2020 was the execution. The accusation is crystal clear. The system itself was manipulated, intelligence corrupted, an entire government overthrown from within to cover the tracks of what happened in 2016. All that election chaos, the censorship, suppression, according to Gabbard's own words, these were not accidents. They were the architect of an overthrow. Now, this is not speculation, my friends. Tulsi Gabbard herself emphasized that multiple pieces of evidence and intelligence confirm the facts. Documents, communication, classified files, enough, hopefully, to shake the very foundations of Washington, D.C. And hopefully, enough to put Barack Obama at the center of a treasonous conspiracy. As she herself said, this is only the tip of the iceberg. Whoa. Who else was involved? What agencies executed the orders? We want to know answers to these questions. How deep did this corruption run? This iceberg metaphor, by the way, is no accident. What's been shown to the public is only the visible fragment. Beneath that is a massive body of conspiracy that has yet to be revealed. It is still to come, and hopefully we will see it soon. The charge is treason, my friends. The accused is none other than Barack Hussein Obama. An attempted coup in 2016, a successful overthrow in 2020, and now in 2025, it all comes above board and a very bright spotlight is shown right on it. This is not just a political scandal. This is perhaps the greatest betrayal in American history. The implications here are seismic, huge. Trust and the very survival of the republic are absolutely on the line, and I'm not being melodramatic for emphasis. The White House has spoken, the DNI has declared, the evidence has been released. For years, all these whispers about treasonous acts, treason itself, were all just poo-pooed and dismissed. Now, in what you just saw, 1 minute and 49 seconds, the whispers have become a roar that is not going to be silenced. The attempt, the overthrow, and the reckoning. Man, this is a huge, huge story. More to come, but it's laid right out there. We shall see, my friends. We shall see. frightening, though, isn't it? To know what's really going on and what really happened. We got a little bit more of that today. A look at what's really going on. Actually, today's UAP hearing. I hate that new way of referring to UFOs, UAP. But since they're insisting on it, I guess we'll play the game. They're just afraid of all the baggage that comes with the term UFO, which is why they switched it to UAPs, unidentified aerial phenomena or something. Anyway, they revealed, among many other things at this hearing, a new military surveillance video which shows a UAP splitting a Hellfire missile in half, midair. Not a single one of the witnesses at this congressional hearing was aware of any U.S. military technology capable of this kind of action. Every witness described the footage as extremely scary. Take a look at this.
I'd like to ask the committee to replay that video that Burleson had played earlier. I want to ask every witness here, specifically ones that have sensor training or have been able to recognize some of this movements real quick. So if you guys can please roll that real quick.
Now watch here and you'll see the missile come in from the upper left. Boom. Look at that. That's a Hellfire missile, folks.
Okay, while
they
this
don't
is still
screw
rolling,
around.
Mr. Nusatelli, real quick, yes or no answers. Are you aware of anything in the government, United States government arsenal that can split a Hellfire missile like this?
No.
And do whatever blob thing it did and then keep going? Nothing?
Nothing.
All right, how about you, Chief Wiggins?
Nothing to my knowledge, ma'am.
Okay, and how about you, Mr. Borland?
I prefer to answer that in a skiff.
Okay, does this video scare you guys? Yes or no?
Yes.
Wiggins?
Yes.
Nat?
I had a different reaction. I was really happy that it got out. Thanks for providing
Curiosity
that.
killed the cat. All right, Mr. Borland?
Yes for...
Okay. All right, that is the end of my questioning.
Yes, it scares the hell out of them. Wow. Danny says, hate to leave so soon. Best friend of 26 years. Having a really hard time right now and just called. Definitely watch later. Jay, stay safe through that storm and everyone have a blessed day. Danny, all the best to you. By all means, go, go, go. Go help a friend. It's much more important than anything I've got to say. How about that, my friends? That hearing was very, very revealing. I didn't, frankly, expect very much to come out of that. But that video alone is huge. All of those military people, some active duty, saying they don't know of anything that we have that exists like that could actually repel a Hellfire missile. And yes, it scares them. Man, Shevitz, that's quite a story. Again, hopefully we'll get some more of these hearings. We'll get more reaction. But absolutely insane. Great video and very cool to have this finally, slowly, agonizingly slowly coming to light. Do you believe, by the way? Put in the chat. I do. Always have. I've never seen anything. Wish I could. Wish I would. But I've always truly believed. All right, America. It's report card time, and you ain't doing very well. The nation's report card on American students is in. And oh boy, it is bad. National Assessment of Educational Progress, which is often called the nation's report card. It's in, and a whole lot of people are going to wish it wasn't, because it is a train wreck. American students started showing declines in learning before the COVID pandemic. But once it hit, it just went straight down. The numbers are about as ugly as they can get. A record high, listen to these numbers, 45% of high school students are below basic in math. Those at the basic level, for instance, would be able to apply statistical reasoning in the organization and display of data and in reading tables and graphs. Pretty basic stuff. That means nearly half of seniors set to graduate and did not have these and a whole lot of other skills. They just don't have them. 1 in 3 seniors were below basic in reading. Oh my God, reading! That also is a record. The lowest performing students recorded an average score of 224, 25 points lower than their counterparts scored in 1992. Every score plummeted. 12th grade math, 22% proficiency, lowest in 20 years. 12th grade reading, 35% proficiency. 8th grade science, 31% proficiency. Sarah Parshall-Perry from the Heritage Foundation Senior Legal. A third of high school students that left for college this year had basic math and reading scores needed to succeed at the college level. Only 1/3 of them had the required skills. A third. For a lot of them, college just become a lengthier and more expensive proposition as they scramble to catch up, and they've got a lot of catching up to do. For every parent that begged schools to reopen during the COVID pandemic, this news confirms what they already knew. Kids would suffer, and irreparably so. And it's happened. New school year begins. A pale hangs over all of American education, robbing them of their futures, frankly. And no matter how much money we throw at this problem, the scores continue to bottom out. And frankly, I throw it right back at the Department of Education, a joke that doesn't need to exist, and the teachers union, who are only interested in the teachers union, not your children. 35% of high school seniors proficient in reading. That doesn't mean they excel at it. That means they're okay. 22% proficient in math. Donald Trump has said he wants to get rid of the Department of Education. Big government liberals always break out in hives every time he mentions it. Secretary of Education Linda McMahon said, "The results confirm a devastating trend, which has continued despite spending billions annually on numerous K-12 programs." Well, babe, what should that tell you? Moron. Numbers like these make it very hard to argue that Jimmy Carter's DOE is a success. 'cause it ain't. According to that report, at least America's young people are provably getting dumber by the hour. Something needs to be done. 22% efficiency in reading. Unfreaking believable. Unbelievable. Give me 60 seconds here to tell you about where you ought to be getting your news from. And that, of course, would be the amazing folks at Ground News, an outlet we use on this show every single day.
The news is divided. Ground News puts it back together, so you can see how many sources are reporting on any breaking story, where they fall on the political spectrum, how reliable they are, and who owns them. Compare headlines and read full articles to see which details are prioritized, exaggerated, or left out entirely. Because the more we understand the media, the more we'll understand each other. Visit ground.news to learn more.
Oh yeah, ground.news. Use the link in our show notes. But that way we get the credit for your visit. So it really is important. You find it in the show notes. Just expand that down. Look for Ground News and it's there. Excuse me. But Ground News really is the place. If you, let's go over there. There we go. This is the actual live site of Ground News. And you get, now I have a Vantage account, and if you sign up using our link, you'll get 40% off that Vantage account. And I'm telling you, the unbelievable coverage of the news story. Let me show you, as an example. First Minister has met President Trump to discuss whiskey tariffs. Okay, so you click on that, and it gives you a brief summary of what the story's about. And then here's all the links, 27 articles that cover it. But look right up here. High factuality. The site leans left. It's the Independent. Leans left. Here's one that is center. Are there any right? I don't see any right leaning, but if they were, right over here it would say leans left. All the different ways this is, and here is who owns the outlets. Whatever news source you're going to, median conglomerate, Reach Pick, Evan C. Lebedev, the owner of the Independent. So all of that is right there. You can tell where your news is coming from, how reliable it is, and how much the reporting leans left, leans right, or is dead center, and how factual they are. It is a brilliant way, folks, to get your news. It covers all the major stories and the ones you may not have heard of. In fact, that's why we use it a lot, to put this show together. You'll find us on Ground News. And I usually will try, and I'll look at what the left is saying, what the right is saying, but the ones that I use on the show, very often I will use the ones that are center, because that gives you a balance between the two. And then I can make my comments in and around that. But Ground News is a spot. The link is in our show notes. Get signed up for an Advantage account, and you will get yourself 40% off when you use that link. Check it out. All right. Gen Z women. What is your problem? Here's another percentage for you. 6%. You know what that is? 6% of female Gen Z Harris voters think personal success includes having kids. Your idea of personal success: good husband, fancy car, nice house, white picket fence, 3.2 kids, good job. The kids part, 6% of female Gen Zs think that's important. That is a part of your personal success, having kids. What the hell happened? Fewer and fewer Americans, and it's no secret, are having children. Gen Z women especially just don't see children as a big measure of success. A significant chunk of women responsible for birthing and raising the next generation do not think that having children fits their personal definition of success. What the ever-loving hell? A new NBC News poll, 2,970 adults aged 18 to 29 found having children does not rank as a high priority for success among young females. The majority of them, by the way, no surprise here, voted Democrat in the last election. Overall, Gen Z men and women all said having children followed behind having a fulfilling job, having money, achieving financial independence, using talents to better others, and owning a home when it came to building a life they believed they would be called successful. After all those things came having children. That number shrank among females who voted for Kamala Harris in 2024's race. 6%. That's all that said they thought having kids was an important marker of success. Man. Marriage, by the way, which they see as a total separate issue from having kids, marriage was even worse. It ranked near the bottom, below 6%. By contrast, 34% of the men surveyed who voted for Trump in 2024 counted having children as an important factor to their definition of success. Financial independence, fulfilling job, trailed closely behind at 33% and 30%, respectively. About 29% of MAGA men also classified marriage as fairly important to their quest for success, making it one of the top 5 achievement measures in that survey. Look, it's no secret that a lot less Americans are having kids these days. We just did a story about this on yesterday's show. In July, CDC announced the birth rate fell again to a record low of 1.6 children per woman. Unbelievable. 6% is all that think having kids is a sign of success in life. How did we get here? Maybe it's because we have idiots like Tim Kaine, the senator from Virginia. He's oh, look, what a surprise, a Democrat. He thinks that you are a terrorist if you believe your basic human rights, you know, the Constitution, if you believe they come from God. Kaine thinks you're a terrorist. I don't believe this story. No one can be this stupid. The idea that rights come from God rather than the state is not radical. It's not foreign. In fact, it is the founding principle of our republic. Well, Senator Tim Kaine, the Democrat from Virginia, once about a heartbeat away from the presidency, said that if you believe in the Declaration of Independence, you're a terrorist. Quote, "The notion that rights don't come from laws and don't come from the government, but come from the Creator, that's what the Iranian government believes. It's a theocratic regime that bases its rule on Sharia law and targets Sunnis, Baha'is, Jews, Christians, and other religious minorities. And they do it because they believe they understand what natural rights are from their Creator." So the statement that our rights do not come from our laws or our governments is extremely troubling. But the idea that our human rights come from God, the Creator, rather than the state, is not radical, it is not foreign. We hold these truths to be self-evident, that all men are created equal, that they are endowed by their Creator with certain unalienable rights, that among these are life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness. The founders recognized that every single person born come with natural rights that are pre-political, grounded in nature, grounded in reason. These rights exist independently of government. If the government went away tomorrow, you would still have these rights because they didn't come from the government. They came from our Creator. This conviction at the heart of what our founding fathers were inspired by, theologians like Thomas Aquinas, who recognized that God created an ordered cosmos. We can fully apprehend the natural law embedded in his creation, he says, through a combination of reason and revelation. The natural law, according to Aquinas, his quote, is nothing less than the rational creature's participation of the eternal law. Natural law, therefore, binds all humans across this planet, all 8 billion plus of us. Now, natural law is a distinctively Christian holding. John Adams himself wrote, "Our great advantage of the Christian religion is that it brings the great principle of the law of nature and nations to the knowledge, belief, and veneration of the whole people." All men are created equal is specifically a Christian claim because God created all men equal. They all bear the imago Dei, the image of God. That is Genesis 1:27. U.S. Supreme Court Justice James Wilson, in his 1790 to 91 lectures on law, said, "Human law must rest its authority ultimately upon the authority of that law which is divine, God's moral law in the Bible. Far from being rivals or enemies, religion and law are twin sisters, friends, mutual assistance. Indeed, these two sciences run into each other. The divine law, discovered by reason, and moral sense forms an essential part of both." Now, not all laws come from God. Some laws indeed are created by the government, laws that are positive laws. These laws which are meant to protect and serve our natural rights. But this moron Democrat from Virginia, Kane, His claim that rights originating from God are troubling, is a basic misunderstanding of the founders' philosophy and, frankly, of the Declaration of Independence, which I might suggest Mr. Kane read for once in his life. Not just read it, but comprehend it. The founders did not see natural rights and their ties to Christianity as a threat. They correctly saw them as the very foundation of liberty. To deny this is not only to misread the Declaration of Independence and the founders, but to undermine the very underworkings of this republic. Any politician who can't understand where our fundamental human rights come from, sorry, you are not fit to serve in public office. Be gone. I think that's going to become my new catchphrase. Be gone with you. Out. Incredible. What? I can't even believe this idiot is saying this. But he did. Stands behind it, too. Moron. Moron! You like graffiti? Not a big fan myself. Now, in some cases, in some cities, the city council will actually hire very talented graffiti artists, give them the side of a building. We have some of that in our city here. And then let them go at it and create these gorgeous murals. But a lot of times, this garbage crap gang tagging graffiti junk is just exactly that. It's just crap. And it looks like hell. And we ought to get rid of it. Now get this. There is a guy who goes out with his little paint roller and his paint, far as I know voluntarily, and covers up graffiti all around his city. We got, it's a very short little video of him doing exactly that. Check this out. Boy, that's some good paint, too. It covers in one swipe. So there you go. Boom, boom. Look at how fast that guy goes. And that paint, like I said, is amazing how well it covers. That's incredible. Goodbye, graffiti. Have a nice day. Be gone. Look at that. Done. All right, you ready for the other half of the story? This man is being accused of destroying black culture and history. Yeah, I know. I'm all for these city-approved murals around neighborhoods. I think some of them are absolutely amazing. They've been approved. The city authorized them, gave the artists the space. The artists were amazing. They're absolutely beautiful. They bring a lot of color, bring a smile to people in these communities. But this random graffiti crap, especially those that are offensive, have got to go. You want to be an artist? Work with your local legislature. Get hired to do an approved piece. Not a problem. And by the way, in the comments to this post, all kinds of people of color saying, bro, graffiti ain't a part of black culture or history. It's Nothing. It has nothing to do with black culture and black. Here's one. Graffiti is not black culture. That shit was around long before African descendants knew what the coloring arts were. Secondly, most 99% of graffiti is just tags or gang symbols. It is rare I see a well-done wall art with true art being involved. And man, ain't that the truth. You're destroying black culture and black history. Please, you're embarrassing yourself. Shut up, sit down, and be gone. And if you needed more reasons to shake your head this morning and wonder why you bothered to get out of bed, Chicago students have now had to petition. You know for what? To get the doors put back on their bathrooms. Schools have been removing the doors on the bathrooms. The ridiculous bullshit explanation? One of the most frequent complaints school board members, school admin get from parents and students is the crap that goes on in the bathrooms. So what in all of their brilliance did they decide to do? Take the doors off the bathrooms. A bathroom. The main door to the bathroom, just take it off. Never mind posting a teacher in there, a volunteer, security guard, male and female appropriate, of course. But nope. Instead, they just took the doors off the bathrooms. At the start of the school year, students noticed the exterior doors to the bathrooms had all been removed. Students were outraged, calling it a violation of their privacy, which is exactly what it would be. High school junior Layla Rosenthal launched a We Need Doors petition to restore the bathroom doors. She wrote, "Bathrooms should be a place where students and staff can have a moment of privacy and security." Fair enough. Oak Park River Forest High, their decision to remove bathroom doors disregards these basic needs and inadvertently contributes to an atmosphere of anxiety and distress among the students. You think? This idiocy they claim is a crime prevention measure. With the absence of doors, it compromises the students' privacy, exposes them to potential risk, obviously creates a very uncomfortable situation, significantly hinders their well-being, their ability to focus on education. This is again according to the petition. And how do you fix this? It's just as easy as pie. It's as plain as the ridiculously large nose on your face. Put the freaking damn doors back. I'm sure you got them in a storage closet somewhere. Idiot. No decision yet. Still waiting for comment. But it seems like this is really kind of a no-brainer at this point. The humongous of liberty. Hey, welcome in and thank you for popping by. Be sure to follow the show. It's that little follow green button down there. He says, or she says, I don't know, they don't have art skills, talking about the graffiti artists. They don't pay for the structures they're painted on. Precisely. And in fact, if you do it the right way, they'll pay you. If you get a commission, you apply and make the proposal, show them a sample maybe of what you're going to do. In a lot of these cases, they will pay you. They might even buy your paint for you. But no, you're right. They don't own the buildings that they're painted on. Good point. All right. A 13-year-old student with school shooter ideations has pled not guilty to mass shooting threats. Can I get my mouse back, please? Thank you. This, folks, is a dangerous story. And a scary one at that. 13-year-old boy from Washington State, initially described by the police as having school shooter intentions. He pled not guilty to 5 counts, including 4 felonies in court yesterday. 3 include 1 count of a threat to bomb or injure property, and 3 counts of unlawful possession of a firearm. Waived his right to a reading of the charges, acknowledged that he understood them, pled not guilty to all counts. His mother suggested that social media posts were an attempt to be cool among peers. At the same time, his father described the charges as blown out of proportion, saying their son had no intention to harm anyone. I'm sure that's what a lot of different school shooters' parents thought also, if they knew at all. Pierce County Sheriff's Office said community tips about this guy's social media posts led to this investigation, which began last Friday afternoon. The police were told the teen was making threats to kill and had school shooter ideations. They arrested him early Saturday morning at the family's home. Authorities confiscated a stockpile of weapons, which included handguns, rifles, and ammunition. Large quantity is what the quote is of guns that had loaded magazines with school shooter writings on them. Clothes, writings that were typical of a mass shooting scenario. One of the neighbors said she was afraid, she was very concerned, saying, "This just makes me really upset. I wish it weren't happening. I'm scared all the time." A sheriff's office spokesperson. A lot of the tips we received came from the social media posts with this suspect boasting about his access to firearms, his intentions to kill, and to create a mass shooting incident. The deputies initially worried about a potential school shooting, saying if you could compare what we found in our evidence from this case to past recent major mass shootings that we've had in schools, every single box was checked. That something bad was going to happen. Authorities did not wait. Brilliantly, they moved fast. Within 24 hours, confiscated the weapons, put them under arrest. 20% of the weapons, by the way, were not secured. They weren't locked up, put away. "23 firearms found, most of them from a homemade 3D printer. They have not targeted the parents of this teen yet. Maybe still to come. This teenager apparently is not enrolled in any school district. The last time he went to school was 2021. And now he's pled not guilty to these felony charges. 13 years old, folks. 13. You remember what you were doing when you were 13? Yeah, exactly. Hey, do not get caught by the kissing bug. Have you heard this story? Chagas disease, or kissing bug disease, is on the increase in the U.S., according to the CDC. Look, I don't do this pandemic conspiracy bullshit on this show. This is a real story, and it's one, sadly, you have to pay attention to. Cases of Chagas disease, which potentially is fatal, caused by an infected triatomine insect, otherwise known as the kissing bug. It is on the rise in the U.S., according to the CDC. This insect will often bite people on the face, which is how it got its nickname, the kissing bug. They said autochloronous, or locally acquired human cases of the disease, have been reported in 8 states, including Texas, California, Arizona, Tennessee, Louisiana, Missouri, Mississippi, and Arkansas. If you live in those states especially, you have got to pay attention. This is a nasty disease. By the way, it doesn't mean you're unclean, you didn't take a shower every day, whatever. No, it's a bug. It's like getting a tick when you walk in the woods. The acute phase of what happens when you get this, shortly after being bitten, is the infected person may experience a type of eyelid swelling. And that happens when the parasite gets into the eyelid, usually by accident. You touch it, you rub your fingers, you rub your eyes. And other acute symptoms: fever, feeling tired, body aches, headache, rash, loss of appetite, diarrhea, and vomiting. Some may experience symptoms for years. If you don't get it treated, it can turn fatal. Heart, digestive issues. You see, this is a serious disease you need to pay attention to. Without treatment, yes, it is life-threatening, could cause congestive heart failure, and serious digestive issues. Kissing bugs have been reported in 32 states. So not just those 8 I mentioned where there have been cases of this Chagas disease, but 32 states that have reported the kissing bug. Please be careful. Please be careful. I got one more for you, and I know I'm going to get a copyright hit on this, but I don't care, because it is absolutely the coolest video I promise that you're going to see today. One of my favorite songs. I love Phil Collins, always have. Genesis, Phil Collins. He's done the most incredible body of work. In the Air Tonight is one of the most amazing songs. It is so powerful. And do you remember when they used it? And I think it might have been for Cadbury, with the gorilla sitting behind the drum set. When it goes, in the air tonight, I know. And it's like, remember that? My favorite part. I do a terrible drum imitation. Sorry. I don't think it needs any more explanation. I know I'm going to get a copyright hit for this. I don't care. Strike me if you will. This is too cool not to share. Yeah, how about that? Pa 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 pa. I love it. That's a cool video. Oh man, who posted that? Rochella Marin. You want to give him a follow over there from Arizona. Nice job, pal. Total precision, rock star rhythm. In the air tonight with Phil Collins. Fantastic. The humongous of liberty. Not a conspiracy when Chinese nationals are busting with bioweapons to destroy crops. Make you wonder, huh? Yes, as a matter of fact. Now, we have had this kissing bug for a long time. It's been around. So, likely not in this case. But the next plandemic to come down the pike wouldn't surprise me in the least, where its origin comes. Hey, we're done. That's it. We are finished. We're all used up and be able to be thrown away. Thank you for popping by. Really appreciate it. We're live on X and Rumble. Be sure you follow us on both platforms. Also, we post our show as a podcast, the audio part, to all the major podcast platforms. So if you're driving or you just want to listen to the show in the audio version, check out Spotify, wherever it might be. You can find us there, The Jay Sheldon Show, and give us a subscriber, a follow. And, of course, we are also on YouTube. Our show does not air live there. We hate YouTube. We do not like YouTube at all. You're listening YouTube. We think you suck. But there's an audience there, a small one, so we do a recording of the show, which we post up there usually within 24 hours of our live version. All right. Enough about that. Check out all our sponsors. Help support the show. Blackout Coffee, Ground News. Go buy something, would you? We need the money. I'll see you tomorrow.